You're about to enjoy a Cloudcast original. Local stories, local storytellers, local brands.
Have you ever felt that you as a woman may not appear to measure up when you see incredible women in strong roles? You may be surprised when hearing from women in these positions and how we all share many of the same challenges. Thank you for joining us for the CEO Leading In podcast with Rebecca Jones as we share the journeys of women.
Hello, I'm Rebecca Jones, your host of CEO. We are on an exploration together to discover more about the personal journeys of incredible women in both career and life. We all have paths to share that sometimes take incredible turns, deep resilience, and courage to navigate. My hopes are that the challenges shared here encourage women to take leaps of faith and growth when a journey feels too difficult or unachievable. There is great strength deep within each one of us. These stories are meant to share the ways strong women have taken their dreams to strive and thrive to new heights, despite their sometimes rocky paths, and found a way to lead in. Today we are joined by Cheryl Kilmer of Teri. Hello, Cheryl. How are you today?
Hi, I'm great. Thanks.
Well, I would like for you to tell our listeners a little bit more about your organization, Teri, and how you started that. And I believe you are founder and CEO of Teri.
One of my jokes is guilty on both counts.
So what does a day look like? And I know today is a special day, and we'll get to that a little bit later, but what does a day look like in your life, Cheryl?
Well, a day in the life of, I think, any CEO is greatly varied. So, CEOs have wear so many hats, as do the staff typically who work with you. So every day brings something new. For me, Teri's a nonprofit corporation. So we do everything from fundraising, all the financial aspects of running an agency. I typically have about 500 people on my staff, on my professional team. And then, of course, there's the visionary part of things, envisioning the programs and services, et cetera, that you are creating at all times for your company.
And could you tell us about your wonderful population of customers, or clients, as you call them, of Teri?
I actually now call them students of all ages, but Teri operates a wide array of programs for people with autism, all other developmental disabilities, all other intellectual disabilities, and for all ages, so throughout the lifespan.
One of the things that I'd just like to mention to our listeners here today is I love the joy that I feel and see when I'm at any event that you're having. There's just this, I want to say almost a childlike innocence and sweetness of all of your students that just is very contagious, but it also translates into your staff too, which I think is really remarkable. It's almost like Disneyland. It's one of the happiest places on earth, in my opinion. I just love the energy and the positivity that's at your campus there.
Oh, Rebecca, that's a wonderful rendition.
Well, it's true, don't you think? I mean, I know you feel it. I know it's probably something you were very intentional in starting, but I really do feel it there.
That's wonderful. And I'll tell you that I tell all new visitors who tell me how wonderful it feels that it would be a sad day that I didn't hear that from someone newly coming to Teri. It's and I do like to feel like I inspired a lot of that, because that's how I think life should be. I want to see people be happy, to love the job they're doing, for the students to love, the education and training that they're getting, for parents to be happy, relieved, secure that their kids of all ages are in good hands. Those are just important facets of life that make for a happy life.
Absolutely. So let's learn a little bit more about you today, Cheryl. Do you have a childhood experience that people might not know about you that's kind of fun?
Yeah, countless. So I guess childhood memories of fun. There's so many. I was so blessed with two just phenomenal parents, and I'm the oldest of six kids. And it was a wonderful family life that we had throughout time. So, going to the beach was our big vacation for many years growing up. My parents were not wealthy; they were both self-made, and so those are really fond memories as far as fun times. We had fun all the time. For starters, during the times when I was growing up, you were taught to create your own fun. So we were not technology bound at the time. So natural fun was a big part of what you did, whether you're playing kick the can in the streets or sitting side by side with a friend and playing cards or reading a book. It was just, it was a great time to grow up.
Oh my gosh, that reminds me of something when my dad would always say, you could always create your own fun. We could give you a piece of yarn and you could just sit in your room for hours and have fun and laugh by yourself. And I was thinking, I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing.
No, we learned that if you came in and said, I'm bored, that they had plenty for you to do.
Very funny. So I have a question for you, Cheryl.
Uh-huh.
Do you have a word that you think describes you the best?
If I had to pick one, I would say passionate.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. But why do you think passionate?
I just think I think I was born passionate. So I say I'm full of love. I'm passionate about life. I'm passionate about people. And then all that life brings you, everything from, travel to interpersonal experiences to food.
Oh yeah, I gotta have food.
Yeah, food or good wine, all those good things. So
Sure.
I just think a passion-driven life is a wonderful way to live, and it's brought me a tremendous amount of happiness.
That's so nice. So your current career at Teri, when did you start Teri and how did that look? And where did you come from before that?
I grew up in Michigan and was actually inspired to start Teri, or my career was inspired as a teenager. So I got out of high school early and went off to university. And a university professor in psychology placed me for an experience out in the children's ward at the local state hospital. I was assigned to a 5-year-old little girl who had multiple and severe developmental disabilities, and had a firsthand experience to the horrifying fact that parents and families had been convinced that placing their child with special needs in a prison-like setting with lots of other children with special needs was the best they could do for their child. So my little girl's name is Yvette Champagne, and she was 5 years old, in a wheelchair, quadriplegic, epilepsy, cerebral palsy, and nonverbal. So she had plenty of challenges, but I always felt like her biggest challenge was the fact that her mother placed her in the state hospital at the age of 5, or at any age, horrifying places. So that was the beginning. And then I had a series of experiences beyond that. When I arrived in California, I worked for another private nonprofit corporation working with our population of people with special needs, and was hired as their executive director and learned about the variance in quality standards as far as services you provide to your clientele, and decided it was time to create a company that myself that would pursue quality standards for our population, share them with the world at large, and start inspiring the creation of programs that truly delivered high quality services to our population. And that's what we've been doing since 1980. So wow. In August, we had our 41st anniversary. I started the company out of my home with 2 other colleagues who worked for me at the last agency, with me, not for me. And one passed away after 10 years with us, and the other were still together. She's my chief of all educational and behavioral program services, Dr. Christy DeZonia.
Well, and now tell us about your location, your campus of life.
So today I'm sitting at our new campus of life. We have this is our grand opening of a building we just completed, a vocational center. So the whole community is invited out. We're out here in San Marcos on 20 acres, 555 Deer Springs Road. We're actually neighbors with the Golden Door, so that gives people a perspective as to where we're at. And the campus has been created to be the venue where we relocate all of our educational programs and training programs that are in Oceanside and other cities out here to San Marcos. And we've designed this vibrant community resource that is here for both our students of all ages, their families, and the community at large. So,
and it's beautiful out there. It's gorgeous.
Yes, it's gorgeous. It feels a little bit like wine country, like Napa.
It does. It does. And it's one of the happiest places on the earth.
Right.
So how do you measure success? Because I think that would probably be very different than most people would measure success.
It could be. I hope not. For the sake of everybody. I measure it in human beings, because that's what's important, is human beings. And we're here to have an impact, a beautiful, positive impact on not just people with special needs and their families, because that's critical, and we've experienced a lot of success in that, but in the community at large.
So how do you balance your work and your life responsibilities and all of that? I love your kind of, I would say it a life mantra of enjoying things and having these experiences. But how do you balance those things? Is there something that really works for you?
Well, efficiency certainly help, but it's balance is about priorities, right? Everybody has their own priorities, and the key to that for me is knowing your own heart and never letting your brain get in the way of your heart. So I guess those are some of the keys to balance. Some days you have more time at work. I live our cause, and I'm happy doing that. And I just think it's taught me so much about team building and people helping each other and such. And to me, you do that in all facets of life. So going to work is like going home for me.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
So what are your barriers in your career?
So our most tremendous barriers always are that most of our services are government funded, which means always inadequate funding. So we have always had to fundraise for any capital projects, including this campus, and for deficits and budgets that are otherwise provided by the government funding. So we're always fundraising.
So, it's kind of interesting because now that you're bringing up that part of it, the funding, and you have an equine portion of your program and other animals. And then you also have the, you were talking a little bit about the food and all of that. Don't you have like a nice little restaurant out there that you're also serving food at? How does that look?
This is the first day that our restaurant is open. So we have a grab and go coffee bar that's Starbucks like, only healthier. So it's wonderful. Soon customers will be able to actually call in their order, and we'll have someone run it out to our interior street here. And we have a 44-seat outdoor cafe that's covered, complete with grills and a pizza oven. And then we have a huge commercial kitchen, also, of course, brand new. So we're creating all of the foods for the grab and go coffee bar, the cafe. All sorts of special events will be happening this Friday, the 22nd, and then the following Friday, the 29th of October, we are having Oktoberfest, complete with live music. So the public's invited. I mentioned earlier that this venue has really been designed as a resource also for the community. So we'll be having all sorts of classes, opportunities to come to our soon-to-be-built theater here, a 208-seat theater. We'll have a culinary institute, so we'll actually have 2 full-on commercial kitchens and 2 outdoor dining areas and 1 indoor dining area. So The public's invited. These are active businesses that will both be vocational training opportunities for some of our clientele and their business net revenue businesses that bring more revenues in to help support the many services that we have created. And the venue is also here because we have people visiting us from, internationally for a long time now, families, delegations, associations, looking for our model to replicate in their home area. So
and then you also have a lot of music with your students as well.
Well, we've created a lot of different avenues to our business to begin with, to help provide a really stimulating environment and life for our students of all ages, but also so that we can model all those things to the community. So we have everything from organic agriculture, we have a theater department, music department, fabulous fine arts and crafts department. All of those things are here on display and for sale, actually, but we've been doing these things for many, many years, and they're all just arenas of healthy, engaging activities and interests that we can help provide for our student body of all ages and the community at large. We're also not just organic farmers, but we grow organic microgreens and sell them to chefs all over the county.
Well, it's a beautiful place out there in Twin Oaks Valley, so I'm glad you're doing that. And I do know I love the way that you have this these businesses that help support your student population and all of the programs that you're providing, because there are certainly a lot of them, and helping people grow, but being very hands-on too. I think that's really a very different model than most nonprofits. I don't think they always delve into all of that. It's very, I think, intentional and very forward-thinking.
Thank you.
So kind of talking about this, what are some of the lessons that you've learned that maybe you could share with some other young women and other people that want to have these leadership roles and apply them to their life? What are some of those things that you could think of off the top of your head?
Well, the first thing I think of overarching is balance. So I think, since you talk a lot about women and such, that it's so important for us as women to remember that we're still all things, that being a leader doesn't mean you're not still a girl sometimes.
Yeah.
And there should be no barriers. I always say I was born liberated. My parents just raised us that way, and I swear I was born liberated. But because we were always brought up to believe in our strengths, and that being strong was a very positive thing, and that it was our job to help make the world a better place, that if all people did that for each other and it was a priority, it would be even more beautiful. And I just think being strong comes with some challenges out there, and you have to be comfortable with it and celebrate it, that you have strengths, and see what kind of benefits you can bring to our world through your strengths. That's why you're given them in the first place.
Well, right. And community is everyone fits together, but you all have not the same thing that you're bringing to the table, because we all accentuate one another and then work together for a common good. And I really like your philosophy in that way, because we all have, gifts, and we all have to figure out how to fit those with other people and work together for a common good.
Yeah, it's all about teamwork, right?
It is for sure. So do you have any role models that you look back and you say, wow, they really helped shape me and who I've become and how I'm able to serve others? Because you really are, you're about service.
I am. And I've never been able to cite any other role models than my parents. They are just such fabulous role models. And of course, they're from the beginning, right? So it's hard to beat that.
And you mentioned that you were the oldest of 6. Did you have brothers, sisters, or just one, or how did that work?
I had 4 brothers and a sister. And I actually we had a really challenging time when I was 6 as the oldest. My sister was 4, I had twin brothers who were 2. And we actually lost one of the twin brothers just over a freak accident at dinner where he took something down the wrong way and aspirated. And we were there while my dad gave him artificial respiration and tried to save his life. And we lost him. So I think that's probably one very strong event in life, of course, that you never forget, that you can look back on and say, wow, was I born empathetic, or, how much impact did that have? It certainly had a lot of impact just on emotion and such.
Yeah, and you know what? I'm glad you shared that, and thank you so much. And I'm really sorry about that. What a traumatic thing as a young girl to experience that. But I think sharing that and using that to bring forth more strength, and then also not forgetting about it, because thinking, how can I be more empathetic? How can I help people through the same sorts of situations? Because we all have these things that happen in our lives that really affect us and shape us. And many of the things are very painful. But I also think that we can say, okay, yes, that happened, but it also has helped me be a survivor, and my sharing that with others can be inspiring to them.
Absolutely. Yeah, to learn from pain, but not let it create fear in you. It's
Right.
huge. Yeah.
Right. Shape you in a positive manner rather than a negative manner.
Absolutely.
So, when you think about all of the things that you're passionate about and what you're doing today, what are you most proud of?
Probably above all, as far as our work here as a team together, is the team building and including the parents, helping families who have just struggled so hard. Families struggle. That's why they come from around the world, because they don't have answers there yet. To lead a more normal, quote unquote, life, and know that their sons and daughters are supported in a healthy, loving way is just huge.
Well, and that's, back to what I originally said about the joy and that your campus is a very happy place, and it really is your entire team and your students there. There are a lot of people that look at folks with special needs and unfortunately still have a label for them.
Mm-hmm.
And I think you've done a lot to change those labels. And I think the love that you do give them, and, bringing people from around the world, that they come to seek you out. I think there would be a lot of satisfaction in that if I were you, knowing that you've done something really, I want to say groundbreaking, but I'm not even aware of any other organization that does what you do. And it's so comprehensive, and again, bringing the families into it. I think it's exceptionally well received. But I'd like to hear what others are saying. Are there organizations that have, recognized you for all of these accomplishments?
I'd say more importantly, we've received recommendations over time, and commendations, but the most important thing is that the families keep coming to us. And, in a way, it's a sad thing, because it would be better if they had great services with standards like ours everywhere. They're coming because they don't. And the people who come internationally, we're doing zero advertising yet, because my goal was to complete the campus first, because it's a huge goal. And, it's a $60-some million at least goal at this point. And then have that venue available so that people, when they did visit from other geographic areas, would have a place to come learn about our culture, because it's so much the core of our quality values. And so they're coming unsolicited just by word of mouth, which is pretty incredible.
Well, I might throw you off right here, but have you ever thought about putting together a a story of what you've actually done and what you've been able to accomplish. And when I mean a story, I'm really talking about like guidelines and principles and a framework where it could be replicated in another country, and have your reach and your legacy. And I hate to put you on the spot like this, but truly, would you be willing to do something like that? Because I really think what you really have done is very exceptional. And the amount of people that come from overseas and all of that, I think that is something to be proud of, but something also to be shared.
Absolutely. That's been part of our vision since the beginning, actually, was to create a model that could be replicated. So we're finally at that stage where we shared it first statewide, and then because we were recognized as a model program in the state of California in the first couple of years that we were founded, the first programs we started, the state recognized us as a model. And they did that simply because they were visiting all of their pilot programs and recognized we truly were a model. So that was a wonderful start. And then it spread through a good part of the United States, and people started visiting us on a more widespread basis. But that was always our goal: create a model, make it replicable, and then help other agencies through consultation to replicate and truly create and maintain quality standards for our population.
I love that. Sharing the love. So, Cheryl, talking about your students and all of that, let's just say I were to bring in, I have a family member that has one of your student populations. What would a day look like for them?
Well, a lot of these days differ based on the individual. So if they're coming to our schools, they're actually coming to private schools many districts, usually 20 some districts around Southern California, are busing kids to us. Those kids typically are on the autism spectrum, which by the way, I view the spectrum as we're all on a lot of spectrums.
We are.
And that's just one of them, and we probably all fall somewhere on there as well. But
well, definitely. Yeah, it's our individuality.
It is. Yeah. But so the kids coming to our schools are literally attending school and doing it. Most of them have one-on-one aides trained to work with them, and a tremendous amount of additional support: a teacher for every 12 kids, a certified teacher, behavioral specialist, speech therapist, occupational therapist, physical therapist, all therapies and such. And we have a huge focus across our programs on fitness and health, and have for many, many years, hence the organic agriculture initially. And our adults have a more expansive agenda, and that, of course, we're looking at any potential vocational training, but again, a big spectrum of people, from people that require a tremendous amount of support throughout the day, like my little Yvette, who I worked with when I was 17, to people who can go out and thoroughly learn a profession, like working in the building we just created. We'll be training everything from busboys to chefs here. All the wait staff. We're working on opening a bakery in this building, so all of those vocational opportunities, baristas, everyone that works in all of the businesses in this building. And we've been for years training individuals to work at our therapeutic equestrian program, and same thing with farming and such. So this campus just allows us to further expand the number of careers that we can train our population to work in.
It just dawned on me, you're a creator of purpose. I love it.
Well, I've always been purpose driven. I'm sure you have too.
Yeah,
right?
Definitely.
You have to produce. I have to produce. Yeah.
So, okay. So you walk into a room of young women leaders. What would be the advice that you would give them that's really worked for you?
Celebrate their strengths.
Yeah, that's it. That's good. And, not be afraid of them, because a lot of times we've been told as little girls, don't be too this, don't be too that. And I think celebrating your strength is definitely something that would work for all of us.
Yeah, and I think it's difficult in a different way today, of course, than it was a long time ago, because of technology, and there's it's so much more powerful. The messages out there from society in a way of how people are supposed to behave and succeed, and women are more and more driven to, they're putting off having families and trying to balance all of that. And I think when they're doing all that, the most important thing to look up is, again, to follow their heart. Nobody has to be a certain way, as long as we're fair to others and behave within legal limits whenever possible. But just joking. But I think it's that individuality and following your heart. If you're not happy, then choices you make are never going to be the right ones.
That's entirely true. I agree. So what's next on your journey? I know you've gotten the vocational building open. What's next on your journey and beyond the actual campus of life?
Well, the campus is a physical venue. So certainly we have our next 2 buildings designed and ready to build. So there are Performing Arts Center and our Fine Arts Center. So those are more specifics. And at the same time, we'll be having our architects draw the rest of the campus so we can build the rest of it all at once, and not no longer phase it, so we can have it up and operating. These days, the cost of financing is less than the cost that building is escalating at. So it makes sense to finish our project this way. And then it's a venue. So there's a tremendous amount of work that goes along with it to truly take this international, be able to support people in all areas of the world as far as in their language, within their culture, and still provide quality of life for the people and the families that they're working to support. If I had a lot of years left, I've always said I would move into our senior population. So here at Teri, we serve our seniors certainly, and we're excellent at it. But I believe in our world that our senior population, especially here in the States, is just not receiving the kind of support that it deserves.
Well, I personally really enjoy watching how you're creating value in the community. And not just in North San Diego County, but beyond, and creating these opportunities for people to bring something to the table and their gifts, even though they are differently abled than what we might see as a traditional ability. I just think I just can't say enough about what I see when I experience your campus. It really is exceptional, Cheryl, and I'm so excited to have you share it with the world. And I really want people to come and experience, and I love the restaurant concept and the grab and go coffee and all of that. The way that you are taking this opportunity to another level is just really exciting. And I'm really proud of you. I really am.
Thank you.
I'm proud of you. Yes. So thank you for joining us today, and I'm excited to see what's next, what happens, and what you evolve this all into.
We're going to meet out here and sample some of the food from the cafe and have our usual wonderful conversations.
Wonderful.
And if I could get you to join my development and or marketing team, that would be fabulous.
Thank you, Cheryl, for joining us today.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Now that was powerful. We hope you've been lifted and encouraged by today's inspiring voice. Always remember that life doesn't look exactly the same for each one of us. Never stop dreaming, striving, and thriving. In future episodes, we look forward to bringing you powerful stories from amazing women who learn how to lead in to challenges. Thank you for listening and being part of our community with CEO host Rebecca Jones.
You have been listening to a Cloudcast original. Local stories, local storytellers, local brands. Find more stories at cloudcast.us.